Wow!
Oh,
Hello!
ano na?
What's up, everyone?
Baba?
Naku! Isa na naman po. Naku, napakainit. Isa na naman po mainit na Sabado. Ang salubong namin sa inyong lahat. Siyempre, ako po, William Galvez. Marami kaming hatid sa inyo na kwentuhan. Siyempre, pakilala ko muna yung aking mga kumpare. Unahin ko na ba? Ganda nung top mo, ah. Jerry Ramos.
Yeah.
Parang
Letter
bagay
C.
sa akin, ah.
For Chasedown.
Cordero.
Chasedown.
Alam ko, Cordero. Oo nga.
Anyway, good afternoon. Good Saturday sa inyong lahat ng nanonood at nakikinig. Balik ulit tayo sa countdown dahil 49 days na lang. At Pasko na. Oo, Pasko na. And maraming nag-aabang ngayon dahil nga bumaba na tayo sa level 2, no? Ano na yung government natin na level 2 na tayo as far as yung quarantine and protocols natin sa COVID-19. Kaya nako, dagsana naman ang mga taong lumalabas. Oo, ang dami. Pero yung mga nag-i-stay pa rin sa bahay, aba, dyan lang kayo, relax, sit back at fasten your seatbelt dahil marami kaming inahandang sorpresa sa inyo ngayong hapon. Waylon, na fresh, balik sa'yo.
Tama ka dyan, paring Jerry. Nabanggit mo yung alert level, no? Totoo yan. Madaming sumaya kasi nakakalabas na. Pero syempre, dapat ingat pa rin. Hindi naman nawala yung virus eh. Although bumaba yung cases natin. Eto, kilala ko na isa sa maingat talaga. Dahil panay ang labas. Pakingabak, pasok!
Ay, magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Gaya ng nasabi ninyo, minsan nakakagulat at nakakatuwa na nakikita natin bumababa ang number of new cases. Ano? The other day, parang na-break na yung 2,000 barrier. 1,000 plus na lang. Pero it doesn't mean, of course, na pwede na tayong umuwi ng umaga. At mag-relax-relax. So, mag-iingat pa rin. At least today, ito, 2 to 4. Diyan lang kayo sa bahay. Huwag nyo na pagpasahan yung remote control. Itabi nyo na muna. Para huwag nyo nang hawakan yung mga pinag-aahawakan dyan sa bahay. Okay? Back to you, Waylon and Jerry.
Tama ka dyan, paring Abak. Yun ang tatandaan nyo. Basta lalabas kayo, huwag lang kayong uuwi na umaga. Pero kung uuwi kayo ng umaga, matulog na lang kayo sa kotse. Yun ang gagawin yung tama. Kaya bago pa, kung saan pa mapunta to, welcome muna natin yung mga ka-chasers natin dahil masaya itong afternoon na ito. Dito sa
Chasedown! Gabi.
Sige, baka kung ano pa mahimay natin. Himayin muna natin to. Tignan muna natin yung ating mga headlines for today. Unahin na natin. Siyempre, fresh na fresh. Sabi mo nga, kagaya ko. Jonas Sultan wagi sa New York para kunin ang WBO Intercontinental Bantamweight title. Bagong kampiyon. Congrats! Talakayin natin mamaya yan.
Ito, bagong kampiyon din.
Alright.
TNT Tropang Giga 2021 Philippine Cup champions ng PBA. Congrats!
Wow! Gold star Yuka Saso pinili maging Japanese citizen. Laking balita yan.
Aroy! Eto, siyempre, ang ating golden girl, Hidilyn Diaz, balik ensayo. Sa Malaysia yan, nandun na uli si Hidi. Mamaya, pag-uusapan natin yan.
And siyempre, ito, Pinoy Pride, Jordan Clarkson at Jalen Green naglaro sa Filipino Heritage Night ng Houston Rockets.
Mhm.
Tama, yung mga headlines natin, mga binanggit natin, lahat yan, hihimayin natin yan, tatalakayin natin, sasagutin. At syempre, meron tayong tatalakayin na, meron tayong guest, syempre, for today. Walang iba kundi ang publisher ng librong Winning Still na si Gang Badoy Capati. At syempre, makakasama natin din yung isa sa members ng, sabi nga bagong kampeon, 2021 Philippine Cup, Kelly Williams. Naku, ang veteranong nagbalik sa for this season. Mamaya yan, makakausap natin silang dalawa. Sige, mga pare, umpisahan na natin to. Gaya nung nabanggit ko, meron tayong bagong kampiyon, Jonas Sultan, na nanalo sa New York pagkunin ng WBO Intercontinental Bantamweight title. Aba, kalahin mo bang isang knockout artist ang tinalo? Pinatumba ni Jonas Sultan ng 4 na beses. Si Carlos Caraballo para agawin ang WBO Intercontinental Bantamweight title noong nakaraang linggo. Pinatunayan ni Sultan na siya ang bigger puncher sa kanilang dalawa nang patumbahin niya sa second round, third round, sixth round at sa ninth round ang Puerto Rican knockout artist. Para nga ito manalo siya. Manalo siya via unanimous decision sa kanilang laban. Tinaguri ang one punch man itong kalaban, pero maagang ipinamalas ni Sultan ang kanyang lakas nang uno niyang patumbahin si Caraballo sa second round na ikinagulat ng huli ng Hulu theater crowd ba? Madaming nanood dito. Akalain mo ba naman knockout artist pinatumba ni Sultan. Bago ang kanilang laban, napahimpo ni Caraballo ang lahat ng 14 niyang mga nakalaban. Ang pride ng Tampilasan, Zamboanga del Norte ay nagbato ng 480 punches at 92 doon ay kumonekta. Pare, kayong dalawa, alam naman ng lahat ng ating mga ka-chasers, sa ating mga listeners, mga nanonood sa atin, talagang kumo-cover kayo ng boxing
Hindi naman.
Of course, kay Manny Pacquiao. Itong pinamalas ni Jonas Sultan na to, na against a known knockout artist, si Caraballo, pinatumba niya 4 na beses bago kunin yung title via unanimous decision. Unahin na kita, Abak, dahil mas matanda ka kay Jerry, hindi lang sa edad. Pagko-cover ng boxing. Yung ano ibig sabihin nito for Jonas Sultan, for another Filipino na meron tayong bagong champion, saka yung pinamalas niya, yun nga yung maraming nagulat dun sa laban nila na pinabagsak niya ng 4 na beses.
Mhm. Madami nagulat. Pati yung mga kasama nga niya nagulat Hindi ba? Even si Biba Sean Gibbons nagulat Nagbibibiba dun sa Hindi ba? Pambira. Oo. Isipin mo, 4 na beses niyang pinatumba itong knockout artist siya nga knockout artist. Ang problema nito, parang kung hindi niya pinagpapatumba ito, yayariin pala siya ng mga judges. Dahil despite the 4 knockdowns, parang sa ibang scorecards ng ibang judges, muntik pa yata matalo si Sultan. Sabi ko, dapat siguro to, nahulog sa ring yung kalaban para talaga maniwala yung mga judges na panalo si Sultan. Pero talaga dehado Ang laki ng yung $100 nga daw nung kaibigan niya tinaya parang naging $425
Tama.
Diba?
Yes,
Ganun talagang dehado, kumbaga sa karera, dehadista. Ganun ang nangyari dyan. Kaya lang, congratulations sa Sultan, di ba? Keep it up. Malakas sumuntok yan si Sultan. Kahit nga daw sinusuntok niya sa braso, nasasaktan pag tinamaan ka pa sa panga, talagang sad-sad yung si Caballero, akala mo lasing Di ba?
Ha?
Sino?
Kayo
Sino
naman.
lasing? Si Caraballo. Hindi, yun din yung nakakagulat dun sa nangyaring laban nila dahil maski na pinatumba niya yung kalaban niya na Puerto Rican, knockout artist, 4 na beses pa, sobrang dikit ng laban. Pero ito,
Sports
Jerry,
card.
tanong ko sa iyo naman is, malaki ba ang kumbaga, for Jonas Sultan to win this kind of fight, isa na ba siya kumbaga sa nakalinya para kumbaga yung kapalit ni Senator Manny Pacquiao, kasi nandiyan din sila yung ibang boxers natin So, isa ba siya sa aasahan na natin?
Ano ba? Mahirap sabihin agad na siya na yung papalit kay Senator Pacquiao. Alam naman natin, iba yung nagawa ni Senator Pacquiao sa ibabaw ng ring. But nonetheless, maganda yung future ni Jonas Sultan, especially after winning this fight, no? Kumbaga, actually ang plano ng Top Rank dyan is to have him as a step ladder lang ni Carlos Caraballo dahil ito yung inaalagaan nila no? Dahil parang nila to bet for superstardom. 14 wins, 14 knockouts kumbaga. So inaalagaan nila. Before the fight nga, si-9 lang top rank into a multi-year contract tong si Caraballo and ayun, natapos siya kay Sultan, no? So, imbes na si Sultan si Caraballo ngayon ang mainit na prospect for a title fight, itong si Sultan ngayon ang tinitingnan ng mga promoters, siyempre ng ibang mga contenders and champions dyan sa bantamweight division. Alam natin, stack up yung division na yan. Dalawang Pilipino ang champion dyan, si John Riel Casimero and si Nonito Donaire. Tapos yung dalawang belt, hawak naman ni Naoya Inoue. No? So, who knows, baka by next year, mapalaban uli sa world title to si Jonas Sultan. Although, pangalawang laban niya pa lang to sa bantamweight, umakyat yan previously super flyweight yan. So, 2 fights so far sa bantamweight and pareho niyang napanalunan yon. Yung isa nung laban, I think undercard ni Casimero at saka ni Guillermo Rigundo yung laban niya kay Sharon Carter. Pinatumba niya yung 7th round. Tapos, ito impressive din siya kay Carlos Caraballo. So, tingnan natin what lies ahead for Jonas Sultan. Although ako, sana wag muna siyang ilaban sa world title. No? Konting, siguro mga tune-up fight pa, 2 o 1. Baka masyado namang nagmamadali kung sakali. So, alagaan lang muna. Kumbaga, pahinugin muna sa 118 pounds si Jonas Sultan and tiyak may kalalagyan yung ibang contenders and champions dyan sa bantamweight. Taylon?
Tama.
Maganda yung sinabi mo, Jerry, yung mga Filipinos na ibang kumbaga champion din dun sa weight category na yun. Sabi mo nga si Casimiro and si Donaire. And lahat yan, I'm sure, gusto niyan makuha yung titles doon sa hawak ni Inoue, Naoya Inoue, so ng Japan. So tingnan natin kung isa ba ito si Jonas Sultan din sa susubok, di ba? Pero I agree with you na dapat siguro nga pahinugin muna. More fights muna para tune up for him to go to that category.
Waylon, para lang sa kapakanan ng mga nanonood, no? Si Jonas Sultan, tinalo niya si John Riel Casimero in a title eliminator fight for Jerwin Ancahas. No? Naglaban silang dalawa Kung sino yung mananalo doon, yun ang lalaban kay Jerwin Ancahas. And tinalo niya si John Riel Casimero by unanimous decision. Kaya napalaban si Sultan kay Jerwin Ancahas. Although, yung laban na yon is super flyweight pa silang dalawa. So, ngayon pareho silang tumaas ng timbang bantamweight. Hindi natin alam ngayon kung kung mas malakas ba si Casimero or si Sultan as a bantamweight. So, magandang laban siguro yon in the future.
Mhm.
Waylon.
Yan ang mga aabangan natin for
6 pounds,
this.
180.
Oo,
Yes,
yun ang aabangan natin for these fighters. Ito, mga ka-chasers, bago tayo tumuloy sa next topic natin, pag-usapan syempre natin ang ating golden girl, si Hidilyn Diaz na nagte-training na uli sa Malaysia.
Uy.
Ipasok muna natin, syempre, ang ating golden mamshi. Golden kasi merong coming yan, may coming baby yan.
Uy.
Ang ating paboritong mamshi. Riza Diaz, pasok!
Hi! At saka konektado naman, di ba? Hidilyn Diaz, Riza Diaz. Diaz, ganyan talaga.
Wow.
Na-realize yun
Magandang hapon mga ka-chasers! Kamusta po kayong lahat? We miss you and thank you for joining us on such a lovely Saturday. The sun is out, the children are out, but still, let's all practice safety protocols and thank you dahil masayang kwentuhan ang aming dala sa inyo. Nakikinig ako doon sa kwentuhan ninyo about boxing at napakarami nating interesting topics ngayong hapon na to. Pero bago ako magpatuloy, binabati ko lang syempre yung mga nanonood sa atin sa ating Facebook live stream. Kamusta po kayo dyan? Lalo na sa ating mga suki. Hello and welcome to the show. And also those that are watching us via PBA Rush, ganun na rin with their mobile phones or tablets using Signal Play app. And of course, nakikinig through Rush 592.3 News FM. Now, pagandahin pa natin yung kwentuhan, mas magiging exciting pa kasi nabanggit nyo na si Hidilyn. Meron pa tayong isang Olympia na talaga namang napakaganda ng taon na to. And that is none other than Yumir Marshall.
Wow.
Ano ba yung wedding songs? Dan, 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 dan. Yan. Pang-graduation ko sa una kong naisip. Oo, tono-tono. No, Yumir Marshall tied the knot with his longtime girlfriend na si Jeniel. Sana tama yung pronunciation ko. Si Jeniel Galarpe. Or now is Mrs. Marshall. So they just got married a few days ago. If I'm not mistaken, it was in a beach wedding. Parang nasa Bohol or something. Yung naging basta sobrang ganda ng kanilang wedding. And again, the 2021 has been, a very fruitful year for Yumir Marshall as again, he weds his longtime girlfriend. And in the said wedding, nakita natin kasi it was streamed live on Facebook. Nandun yung mga fellow Olympians niya, katulad na lang ni Hidilyn was there, Carlo Paalang was there, pati na rin si Nesty Pitesio. At isa sa mga ninong nila ay si POC President Sir Bumble Tolentino. So, our congratulations to the Marshalls. And, pagandahin pa natin ang pagandahin ng future. We hope to interview Yumir maybe in the next coming episodes para malaman din natin yung kanila pang mga plano in the next coming weeks. But why not mag-baby na, di ba? Para magkaroon na ng another athlete in the making. Yan. So, speaking of kasalan, I also just wanted to congratulate a good friend of ours that celebrated wedding anniversary naman. Eric Reyes is celebrating his wedding anniversary with his beautiful wife, Michelle. So, congratulations! 22 years.
RFM.
Oh, 22 years of being together and having beautiful children and a beautiful relationship. So, congratulations! Okay, meron pa ba tayong oras? Kasi ang dami nating bisita. Habang inaantay natin yung mga bisita natin, isa-isa na natin to. Kwentuhang PBA. Are you ready? Because I am so ready. Napakaraming nangyari in the past week. And Jerry Ramos will be leading us to those topics about the PBA. Jerry, simulan natin with, of course, congratulating TNT Tropang Giga ending their drought of 6 years.
Matagal-tagal, no? 6 years. After 2015 Commissioner's Cup, muling naging kampeon ang TNT franchise, siyempre sa pangunguna ni team owner Manny V. Pangilinan and Coach Chot Reyes and the rest of the Tropang Giga. Tinapos nila yung serye with the Magnolia in just 5 games. Tapos yan last week Friday sa Bacolor, Pampanga, nakababol sila kung sa mga hindi nakapanood, no. Siyempre, ang naging finals MVP ng PBA Press Corps si Mikey Williams, rookie. Mikey Williams, first rookie siya na natanghal bilang finals MVP right on his first conference sa liga. Although sa mga rookie na naging finals MVP, pangatlo siya after Danny Siegel with San Miguel and Brandon Cablay ng Alaska. Si Mikey Williams averaged 27.6 points, 5.2 rebounds and 4.8 assists during the 5-game series against Magnolia. Siyempre, sabi nga nila, hindi naman lahat napapanalunan, no? Si Calvin Abueva ang nanalo bilang best player of the conference. Tinalo niya si teammate niya Ian Sanggalang and siyempre si Mikey Williams. And other than that, first title ni Coach Chot Reyes ito after coming back from a sabbatical, coaching sabbatical. And I think, more than almost actually a decade nung huli siyang nag-champion with TNT nga. Of course, andyan din maganda rin yung nangyari, Riz, Waylon and Troy Rosario, no? Nung after ng game, pinuntahan siya ni Jackson Corpus and congratulate niya. Alam naman natin na medyo nagkaroon ng konting physical plays between the two of them which resulted in Troy Rosario dislocating his 2 fingers and nagkaroon siya ng spinal parang problem sa spinal shock. Thank you, Abak. So, napakaganda yung gesture na ginawa ni Jackson Corpus after the series dahil personal niyang nilapitan si Troy Rosario and pinongratulate. At the same time, tinanong niya yung lagay ni Troy kung okay na ba siya. No? Sabi naman ni Jackson Corpus, personally, outside of the court, talagang friends naman sila ni Troy Rosario. So, doon pa lang, congratulations na kay Jackson Corpus for showing yung true value ng sportsmanship. Okay, Riza, baka kayo, chasers, may gusto kayong idagdag doon sa
I like lang one of the episodes when TNT won, but Dave Marcelo wasn't part of the game. Remember the team? Bulan ng very light. So, lobby. Sinong nagpang-abot na?
Si Aris Junicio.
Junicio. Nagkaroon ng konting confrontation. So, the team suspended for that, that incident, that behavior that showed. And what's nice is celebrated with him inside his room kung saan nanood siya nung game. So, it's a light moment because they recognize, of course, that even there, laking parte siya nung championship na napanalunan nga ng TNT. That was like a light but a very nice moment for me. I don't know, Waylon, what was your favorite moment perhaps in the series of TNT and Magnolia?
Siyempre, yung the fact na si Coach Chot matagal siya nawala eh. And yung
ganitong pabago-bagong panahon,
balik, champion agad. Siyempre nakakatuwa yung ganong mga klase ng na storya, no, na ilang years wala siya sa coaching eh. Nasa corporate world siya at meron siyang sarili niyang business din, di ba? So yung ang makikita natin doon, hindi nawala yung passion niya. And yung kumbaga, nandoon na yung experience. And also, di ba, pagka nawala ka na matagal eh. So parang yung knowledge niya sa game, eh nandun pa rin. Kumbaga, hindi yung, kumbaga, matagal na wala, nangangapa sa pagbalik, pero si Coach Chot, andun eh. So masaya tayo for him na he won again, he won a championship again, unang taon niya ng pagbalik. And the last time na nagkaroon tayo ng Chasedown was, di ba, parang ipinag-usapan natin kung masisweep ba ng TNT.
Mhm.
Eh, nakakita yung Magnolia. So, walang sweep, nakaisa yung Magnolia. Ang ano lang, after ng panalo na yon, sinuluyan na sila ng TNT. Hindi nga lang umabot sa Game 7, no? Yung parang ako, personally, yun ang wish ko. Sana umabot ng Game 7 dahil ang tagal inintay ng PBA or basketball fans yung pagbabalik ng ating liga eh. Mas maganda sana kung nag-Game 7. Pero nonetheless, masaya tayo na nakabalik yung PBA, TNT won, and Magnolia still gave them a good fight, Reese.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Pagbalik natin, marami pa tayong kwentuhan about the PBA. Plus, we're going to bring in our guest. Kaya wag po kayong aalis. Magbabalik po ang The Chasedown.
Down.
We'll be back. Welcome back to the Chasedown. We are so happy that you guys are joining us again on such an exciting Saturday afternoon. Ako po si Riza Diaz. Kasama natin ang ating mga ka-chasers. We have Jerry Ramos right now. And we hope to have in a while, of course, there he is, Abak Cordero. And syempre, para kumpleto ang ating barkada is Waylon Galvez. Now, this afternoon, we are so excited because ang dami nating topics the world of sports, hindi lang syempre sa Pilipinas, kung hindi abroad. And it is such a blessing to be able to talk about a whole lot of sports now. Kasi kung maaalala nyo, about a year ago, there wasn't even sports events. We were put on hold. Ang daming alam mo yon, restrictions. Ang daming na-cancel na mga sporting events. And now it is a totally different scenario. But around that time when, of course, everything was, or a lot were put on pause, some things were still winning on that note. Kasi meron tayong mga kasama na nakahanap talaga ng ibang paraan para mailabas at maibahagi pa rin ang kanilang mga talento. Through now, a book that's called Winning Still. And we have with us the publisher and the writer, one of the many contributing writers of Winning Still. So we'd like to put them on the show. Let's introduce first our guest, who happens to be, no, she's doing pretty much everything. She's a writer, she's a businesswoman, she's an educator, and of course the publisher of Winning Still. These are essays from the Philippine sports landscape during the pandemic. We have with us on the show Gang Badoy Capati, and of course, one of our favorites, and who happens to have contributed an essay to in the said book, is none other than head coach of Gilas Pilipinas Youth. One of our favorite guys, has to be one of my favorite. Coach Sandy Arespacochaga is joining us. Coach Sandy, hi gang, kamusta?
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay lang yan.
Hello.
Coach Sandy, pakilala mo naman yung special guest mo sa amin.
My daughter. Si Luisa, say hi. Yeah, pero tutulog na siya. Okay.
It's nap time, Luisa. Makinig ka kay daddy mo para tumangkad ka. Yan ang hindi ko ginawa nung bata ako. Hindi ako masyado nag-nap. Napigilan yung dreams ko maging Miss Philippines. But it's so nice to have you, Coach Sandy and Gang. Thank you for joining us. Gang, we know you're so busy and we have very limited time with you, but you're here.
Okay.
And we're very grateful. Where do I start? Well, thank you for such an inspiring book. I've only read a little of it, to be very honest. You know, motherhood really takes a lot. So, minsan ako makapagbasa kapag natutulog na si Isabella. But reading through some of the essays has been really, really, really inspiring. Gang, I'd like to ask. I read kasi the foreword of the book which you wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says here, one thing that struck me the most is when you said that, you know, it's a tragedy that in our country, although medyo political yung end, that we don't have enough athletes in the government. And you believe that athletes are good leaders. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Riza? First of all, I want to clarify that everything is political. So it's not specific to color or an administration that I'm not exactly for. But I said that there really may mga traits talaga that come with an athlete. Not just the physical aspect, but the physical aspect, of course, is a big thing, because decision making, working with a team, leading, prioritizing certain things, prioritizing team over ego, score over ego. These are characteristics you really want in a leader. You know, somebody who will be there for the game, who will serve the game and not the self. Kaya yata nasabi yun kasi halos lahat ng kilala ko na naging atleta or atleta pa rin. I was a national athlete of volleyball also. I was an RPU way back. I really learned a lot of my best working practices from being in a sport. So it wasn't a dig on any of the politicians today. But and if that's how you took it, then I can't do anything. But what I really want to say is that every Filipino should have a chance to at least try a sport or have a venue na
Mhm.
magka-sport kasi ang daming natututunan when you
Ito.
participate. Oh, hindi lang kasi siya brain. I mean, your body is also involved. The potential to hurt someone is involved. The potential to fall is involved. To get wounded, to get up, to heal, to still serve and play despite falling. I mean, these are the alam mo, summary yun of things that I think leaders should possess in a natural form. Nagiging natural form siya if you've been playing a sport since you were a child, I think. Oh, kaya ko nasabi
I
yun.
I truly
Risa,
believe so.
pero actually, please remember, this was also during the first 100 days of the pandemic, where I was, everyone was confused and just as clueless and lost as I was, I assume. And I also think there was an edge to the way I wrote it because there was a frustration there in the leadership. So I think that's why I said that. And I
It's
really thought,
perfectly fine.
no, I really saw. Oh, of course, it's perfectly fine. It's necessary to say it, but I think what I want to say is that the writers, the athletes, or people involved here in the book are the giants of Philippine sports. Not all of them, of course, kasi hindi kasha. I wish we could have book 2 and 3 so we can include everyone, including you guys, into the next book 2 and 3. But I really sought hope and light in the athletes during that time, with all the frustrations I had with the way things were going for the pandemic. Just to see athletes saying, "Wow, hindi tayo nakakalaro this 100 days, but it's not time to rest. Maybe it's time for other things or aspects of us to move." Like they wrote and they
Mhm.
philosophized and they thought and they outlined and they emailed and they were edited. So it was so inspiring. I must say I credit the group who wrote Winning Still with me for keeping a lot of my optimism up during the first 100
Right.
days of the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Gan,
Kasi
just
parang
to
sayang,
mention,
parang sayang pag hindi i-share. Sayang kung hindi i-share.
correct.
Hindi lang sa Philippines, sa world, di ba?
Correct. Just to mention, kasi yung mga ka-chasers na inggit, wala pa silang kopya ng libro. Ilan sa mga or mga contributing writers, aside of course of Coach Sandy,
Sandy.
we have Hidilyn Diaz, gold
Oh, yeah.
medalist po ng Olympics. We have, Rubilin Amit also wrote an
Yeah.
essay here.
Two-time world
Um,
champion billiards, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Paul Supan, also Sir Paul Supan, our
Talaga?
favorite also. Yeah, nandito si Sir Paul.
Parang hindi ako maniwala.
Oo,
Hindi,
nakapagsulat ng
mabasa.
essay.
Oo.
Kailangan mabasa mo to. Ito,
Risa,
isa sa
nandiyan
mga
din si Coach
iniidolo ko.
Jong. Nandiyan din si Coach Jong
Jong
Wichiko,
with
of course,
Chico.
Sandy. Akika
Idol ko to
Thompson.
on and off the, idol ko on and off the court, and we wish them luck kasi they just left the country. Belay Fernando.
Yeah.
Belay Fernando de la Cruz.
Yes.
Ayan.
De la Cruz.
Tama.
Right.
Oo. Congratulations. At sa Rebo, sa Gisag also wrote, at marami pang iba.
Wow.
So, it's really exciting. But Coach Sandy, ikaw naman, bago po yung mga ka-chaser, susulitin ko na yung pagkakataon ko. The chapter that you wrote was called Baby Steps on Becoming a Better Person. And this is from your perspective of coaching for over 22 years in the Philippine basketball scene. You're saying that one of the lessons that you learned from attending, of course, MWF and writing is you're still a person who's learning. Kahit 22 years ka na nagko-coach, ang dami mo nang nagawa, especially for the national team.
Yes. Well, thank you, Risa, for reading my chapter. No, but I think that's very important kasi oo nga, 22 years na ako nagko-coach and matanda na rin tayo di ba? So, pero I think yung experience ko in writing, being part of this book, parang hindi lang ako contributor but I was actually a fan. Parang natuwa ako makinig sa mga kasama ko. In the same way na reading the book, talagang natuwa ako. I immersed myself sa mga sinulat ng mga kasama ko. And halos lahat kasi may magandang perspective na mapapareflect ka talaga about life. So it's not just X and O's. Sinulat ko nga doon I realized na importante rin maalala ko why. Hindi lang X and O's, di ba, sa basketball. Pero why am I coaching? Why am I here? And talagang nag-enjoy ako makinig, nag-enjoy ako magbasa. At natuto ko sa mga kasama ko. I think parang feeling ko madaya nga ako kasi dapat contributor ako pero actually parang ang feeling ko ako yung maraming natutunan, parang ganon. So I hope that yung mga kayo din na nagbabasa will feel the same way na talagang napaka-enriching talaga ng mga sinulat ng mga tao dito sa librong ito.
Okay, let's have the chasers ask you guys question. Waylon, ikaw muna.
Yes, Coach Sandy, siyempre ito yung libro na to na sulat during, sabi nga ni Ma'am Badoy, during the parang first 100 days ng pandemic. And actually nakapanood ako ng isa yung online session eh.
Talaga? Naka-attend ka ng isa, Waylon? That's
yes,
good.
ma'am. Parang I was invited by
Nolly?
si Benny Benitez yata nag-invite sa akin. So, nakapanood ako, maganda yung sharing ng mga atleta. Coach Sandy, siyempre tanong, gaano kahirap yung siyempre, as a basketball coach, sanay tayo, training, araw-araw, pero yung nangyari yung pandemic, tapos eto, nakapagsulat kayo ng essay for as contributor. Gaano ka fulfilling para sa iyo na kumbaga nailabas mo yung syempre feelings mo sa nangyayari.
Siguro actually mahirap pala magsulat kaya ang galing din yung mga writers ha. Hindi lang pala ganun kadali magsulat. So
at mas mahirap, Coach Sandy, mas mahirap magpasulat ng atleta at coach kaysa magsulat.
Sila gang. Actually, nagkaroon pa sila nagkaroon pa kami ng sessions para turuan kami, paano kasi
Creative writing
kasi actually, 'di ba, madadaldal naman kaming coaches and athletes but it's the matter of writing all of that on paper and how yung mga readers naman will be able to get na parang yung kwentuhan pero iba yung tagus 'di ba? Kaya talagang bilib ako sa inyong mga writers and storytellers like si Risa, very good storytellers who can convey the story. It was very hard because katulad ng nasabi nga ni Sir Waylon na biglang walang basketball. Actually, ngayon pa lang talaga mga bubble setup. Pero kung walang bubble, wala 'di ba? Like our athletes sa collegiate and high school level, in their formative years, wala silang basketball. So that's very crucial for them and for us. Nasanay na kami na everyday may practice, all of a sudden walang practice, parang weird. 'Di ba? Parang the same way yung feeling natin na tagal na walang PBA, 'di ba? Parang it was so weird, 'di ba? So I think similar to what happened sa pandemic, ang laking bagay na parang nagkaroon kami ng group na therapy group, parang ganoon support group kumbaga. Kasi lahat ng mga coaches and athletes na walang magawa, nagsama-sama at parang nagtulungan kami. So parang ang laking bagay na nagkaroon ng parang family, parang ganoon. Nagkaroon ng family na ang dami kong naging bagong mga kaibigan, mga contacts, and malaking bagay yun na nararamdaman mo hindi ka nag-iisa. 'Di ba? Na parang parang member ka pa rin ng team, virtual team, 'di ba? Hindi kahit physically wala doon, pero virtually that you made new friends. And yun nga weird kasi pandemic yet we made new friends. So malaking bagay yun personally.
Ako, Risa and Jerry, tama ba? Jerry, Abak, and Waylon,
Yes.
to complement and really build on what Coach Sandy was saying. Mahirap for humans na hindi alam kung anong next. During the pandemic, that was what it was like. May gamot ba to? Mamamatay ba ako? Mamamatay ba yung mahal ko? May magkaka-solution ba to this? Makakalabas pa ba ako? Makaka-travel pa ba ako? I mean, there were 1,000 questions talaga in our heads. Yun, that's hard enough kasi hindi kaya ng brain hindi kaya ng brain na walang answers eh. Nahihirapan tayo pag walang answer. So you're gonna have to be, philosophical and poetic to really live with just questions. We want answers. So I think part of the comfort there was kahit 1,000 yung questions namin in our hearts, and in our brains, and even every day we check lagnat, sino sa inyo nilalagnat, ganyan. It was just very life-giving. I rarely use that phrase because, I think it's so pretentious, but it was so life-giving that there were other people who were going through the exact thing, and that talagang what really I think kills us in the end, I use that poetically, is that when you feel alone. I think what really kills your life and viva and your optimism is pag feeling mo mag-isa ka lang. And sa akin, all the effort of MWF waking up at 10 a.m. and really engaging with athletes and sports, a lot of them pa sobrang rock stars, so they weren't really warm. And then even at the early parts, can you imagine Jong Wichiko learning Zoom before your very eyes? That's really hard. But it was really hard to go, coach, nakamute ka, coach, yung button sa left, coach, ganyan. We all started that way. But just that we were all grappling, in the same darkness, Risa, it was just, I think, incomparable yung friendships that we formed during that
Correct.
time. And I'm as the publisher of the book, I thought it was gonna be a crime. It was gonna be a crime not to immortalize talaga the thoughts of the athletes and the giants in Philippine sports during that time. Kasi for the first time in their lives, they were asked not to move, sit still, don't go out, like sit properly. These are the kids that don't sit still, They're athletes, they're fast, they're strong. Can you imagine, Hidilyn, how we were accompanying her all through the time they said the Olympics were canceled? And then can you
Postponed.
imagine,
Yeah.
postponed for that year and rescheduled for another year? Everybody who was already in tip-top shape, ready for August. Can you imagine how the mental drop would be? But I think the fact that they could see other people going through the same scenario and nobody was being singled out and punished. Kasi naman usually yung feeling when something goes wrong in your life, you feel you're being punished and you're alone. But when you see that somehow there's unity, like the whole humanity is going through the same thing, you automatically feel part of something bigger, and the questions don't hit so hard as they normally would. So I think yun yung sinasabi rin ni Sandy, that it's a different kind of friendship and family that was formed during that time. I wish everyone the same, sana lahat ng Filipinos, lahat ng tao sa world, ay sana lahat ng tao nung early part ng pandemic nagkaroon ng ganitong community. I really, parang it was something that saved a lot of our optimism, our lives, our hopes, our capacity to go on.
Yeah.
Parang ganun.
No, we feel you, because kami rin sa the Chasedown, when we were put on hold, the show was put on hold because we used to be at the studio for for the longest time, and then we
I
were
can
put on hold
imagine.
for months. And then when we got the text na, oy, magpa-practice tayo ng ng online natin ng show. Oh my gosh, we are back, and it's such a restoration of hope and faith that
Talaga.
there's good that is gonna come up with all of these happening. Okay.
Kasi you know what, Risa and Jerry, I hope you don't mind, Waylon, hindi mo ma-imagine ipagsama tong mga taong to in one space eh. Iba-iba personality, iba-ibang sports, lahat rockstar, lahat lahat nasusunod, and lahat malakas, lahat mabilis, lahat,
Yes.
they're all excellent. So parang there was no, almost unthinkable to get them all in one space. But the pandemic, talagang nilagay tayo lahat in the same space, and somehow we really found a common an affection actually for each other, na ikaw rin, ako rin. Oh no, nilalagnat ka, ako rin. Kinakabahan ka ba? Ako rin. I mean, even just that. I mean, there's a student in Zamboanga, Gian, she's our youngest, and then Jed Diamante, the rock star of football of LaSalle, and then we have Jong Wichiko and the old timers, Coach O, and we have all the Stax Avellano of triathlon, Ada Milby, who iba yung language, and then we have Akiko, etc. How can you get them all
Akiko
in one
Thompson,
space?
yeah.
Yeah, it was just too rough. And for me, triumph siya of humanity, and a small glimpse of what the Philippines can be like if we just find the common ground and what is good and be around for each other. Parang meron ako na picture na, shucks, kaya yata ng Philippines. Parang okay to, kasi ibang-iba sila eh. Ibang-iba sila. But here we are, no? Here we are with a book.
Waylon. All right. Go ahead, Waylon. May follow-up si Waylon.
Actually, Miss Gang, meron akong copy. Tama, si Benny Benitez ang nagpadala sa akin ito.
High five!
And
Okay.
You mentioned yung mga atleta eh. Sabi mo nga, rockstar eh.
Oo,
Ah,
oo naman, di ba?
no,
So,
sa dami nung nag-contribute sa libro na to, ikaw ba, medyo iintrigahin na kita. May
oo.
paborito ka bang
Meron, si Coach Sandy.
Chapter.
Si Coach Sandy.
Ah,
Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi siya yung nandito. Eh kung gines niyo dito si Ada Milby, si Ada yung sinabi ko, hindi lang ka lang. Actually, may I? Actually, meron. And uh, I think the whole class of writers and sports people know this. John Wichiko is really my favorite because he is the difficult student. He is the hard-headed person in the back. Lagi nagsa-side comment. It's really rough.
tama.
You know, if I needed to give them
Ulo lang
grades,
talaga eh.
so Jungkook Chico is my favorite. There are two reasons. One, he's the younger brother of my volleyball coach, who really gave me a rough time. I adore him though, Jacob Wichiko. So I kind of like
Yeah.
feeling na ako naman yung coach in writing ng anak nung kapatid ni Coach Jake Wichiko. The second, I think, of course, I adore everybody's writing style, but I think Jong was the one who was most hesitant and really was resistant, like parang, but he was the one with the richest story, I think, in an term of a situation. He discussed the time he got into a brawl with an athlete of another country.
Mhm.
And that humility and wisdom to discuss that mistake is for me his finest hour. I think it was the finest hour of Jong Wichiko to say, I shouldn't have done that. I have a son, I have children, I have my daughters that I didn't know how to deal with it. I don't know why. And you know, for someone who is very steadfast and solid and even macho as Jong Wichiko to actually be so what do you call intuitive with his feelings, and he couldn't understand it, but he wrote it down. So I really encourage you to read Jong Wichiko's essay. It really says, I think it spoke a lot to me also because we're being run by a very macho government. And so I really like it when there are strong, very manly people who can say, wow, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I could have been
Mhm.
better. And I will be better because I have children and I don't want my children to do the same mistakes, to make the same mistakes. I think that in that aspect, that in Jong Wichiko is my favorite writer during that particular class. But I do admire and appreciate every other writer, of course, in a different way. I just thought we only have time for me to discuss one. Other than that, I think Coach Sandy is always introspective naman, so he's expected to write something well.
Yeah, definitely. Alam mo, it brings the different, different dynamic of the personality. Kasi katulad
Yeah.
ni Coach Sandy, pag hindi nila kasi nakakausap si masyado si Coach Sandy kasi he's very
suplado
quiet. Pero kapag
Mga
pag
suplado.
nagsimula na yung magkwento, inaabot na kami ng mga 15 minutes, yung notebook ko na. Yung
Oo.
yung approach mo in the PBA, nakaganyan pa yan sa akin. Yung naka-4 pa yung kailangan
Oo.
maganda yung tanong mo sa akin kasi
Oo. Oh my
masayang yung
gosh,
oras ko.
totoo.
Pero once you start talking to him, it never ends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's you'll have to find a way to
Alam
get
mo,
out because
grabe, salamat na na-bring up mo yun. Kasi yan exactly is what I mean by we have game faces. You have public faces. This is possibly my public face. You know, you don't know what I'm like in private, right? So we're clear, we're focused, we're stern. Coach Sandy, brujo yan on the court, di ba? Parang kailan na si Jong, di ba? But when you see them up close, you see that there are other dimensions that are softer, kinder, more noble, even profound, even sentimental. And that's what I mean by that side is highly developed when you are also macho and strong and competitive in court. That means it becomes you're a more total person. I think that's what I mean by leaders should have had sports when they were young so that they
Yeah.
learn sportsmanship, gentleman, graceful game, graceful losing, and more importantly, graceful winning. I think that's what
graceful
skill we
winning.
don't have. Yeah. Oh, talaga. So, being a sports fan myself, I felt, wow, what a privilege to publish this book. You can't imagine how proud
Nice.
I am. How proud I am of this book winning still. I gave the title, and not maybe coincidence. Maybe I'm psychic. Actually, no, I'm not psychic. I chose the drawing that was meant for
The cover?
Hidilyn.
Yeah.
please remember this was a year and a half before she won our first gold, because that's the kind of focus we all had. Do you know? And I'm gonna say this publicly na. I was very sure she was gonna win the gold. I was very sure. I didn't have 1 minute of doubt. So, in fact, even 2 days before or 3 days before she lifted, I said, hintayin niyo lang mag-gold tayo this year. That's how much privileged and honored I was to see it up close. Kasi nakita ko na nothing was gonna stop this girl. And all the athletes have that. All the Filipino athletes have that. We just have to give them support and venue and proper mental health care, proper physical venues to take care of them. It's not spoiling them. It's just minimum requirement.
Yeah.
Minimum requirement. You take care of an athlete because guess what? Guess what? Our nation is, we need so much to be proud of. There's so much we're embarrassed about. Ang dami masyadong things na najajahe tayo about being Filipino. Our athletes, they're not that. They're the ones that make us proud. So tama lang na alagaan natin sila, right? So if it
Tama.
comes in the form of money, if it comes in the form of mental health care, venue, ang tawag doon, equipment, go. Why not? Education, go. Well, why not, right? I mean, you take care of people that don't even make us proud. I would really invest in athletes. I really would.
I
I did.
agree. Uh,
I did invest in athletes. So yay.
okay.
So proud.
Waylon, do you have a follow-up before we move to Abak and Jerry?
Tama na yung sinasabi ni Miss Gang na paborito din namin si Coach Jong.
Oo, di ba?
Ito,
Bruho yun eh.
namin si
Super.
Coach Sandy kasi nandito siya eh. Dati kala ko suplado si Coach Sandy eh. Pero nung nakilala ko na siya, isa na sa paborito ko yan dahil sumasagot lagi yan sa Viber. Lalo na
Yan.
pag-abroad.
Baka nasusupladahan lang kayo kay Sandy kasi pogi siya. Parang yun yung yun yung default
O
eh, no?
tsaka,
Sandy.
syempre Ateneo, baka English, baka mahirapan
din
ka
ako eh,
dito
no?
eh.
Oo nga, tama.
Di ba? No, but
Gago. Sorry.
Jerry, do you have more questions? I know you have questions, Jerry. Go ahead.
Yes, one question each for Ma'am Gang and kay Coach Sandy. Kay Ma'am Gang muna. Ma'am, paano kayo namili kung sino yung mga athletes na susulat para sa librong ito?
Alam mo, buti na lang tinanong mo yun. Kasi alam mo, walang method. There was no method at all. Kasi kung ako lang, I'll publish everyone who attended MWF. Essay lang naman, no? What's a few more pages? But what happened was parang we sent out an invite on I will hold creative writing workshops for mental health. And it was just the people who showed up. Really, there was no intent of magmi-meet tayo over the pandemic to publish a book. It was not like that at all. That's why nga yata, Jerry, and mahihirapan yata i-replicate itong book. Kasi sobrang organic yung pagka-grow niya. Parang kabutin. Parang may jumingil lang na aso doon tapos tumubo yung mushroom. Hindi namin siya sinadya, na kinultivate, pinili. Wala masyadong ganun eh. It wasn't deliberate at all. That's why I think part of it is that's the magic of the book. Kasi when you publish a book, you really choose who will write, you will over-edit or like extremely edit. You will have an objective before you even invite the writers. This is the objective. I want you to write. And then it felt like, you know what, whatever you want to say. And then kami na lang naghanap ng chapter divisions where we put whose essay where. And it seems like there were common themes. And of course, there are common themes. Athletes sila eh. So the common themes were losing, training, recovering, pivot, change. Somehow we were able to categorize lahat ng essay into specific chapters. So, but thank you for bringing that up kasi sobrang pangarap kong mag-publish ng isa pang libro na nandun naman yung ibang sports like fencing, sepak takraw, at all these other things. Pero itong libro, it was just like kung sinong nag-attend at kung sinong nandun at kung sinong nag-submit. It was really that, there were two others. In fact, one was heartbreaking for me that Vincent Santos couldn't submit his essay because he was COVID positive. There were things like that, but here it is now, and I think we still have chances to do it. But I must say, this first book, when book 2 and 3 happen, and I promise they will, parang book 1 is the magical. It came from like zero planning, therefore I think tinadhana siya, if you even believe in that. So, kung meron akong soulmate na book, ito yon. Pero hindi naman ako naniniwala sa soulmate. Pero parang, ching, it just showed up. It landed on our laps. But I must say, hindi siya chamba. At hindi rin siya parang loto. Kasi pinaghirapan din namin. Pinag-ipunan, pinag-isipan, pinaglaanan ng puyat and paos. We lost our executive editor. I'm sure you know him, Rico Navarro. We lost him 3/4 of the way. Yeah, he died even before we published it. It was so heartbreaking. We had enough time because Vincent Santos, FEU soccer coach, football coach, got COVID. And I didn't want to demand an essay from him. We had the space for one. So we invited Rico's son to write, Popoy Navarro. So it's also, that's what I mean by, I think kung handa ka, kung ensayado ka, kung, kung okay yung muscle conditioning mo at the time, anything na mag-swing, makaka-produce ka ng points eh. Parang ganun. So, kahit last minute reflex, parang that's what happened to everyone during the book. Parang, uy, nagsubmit sila ng essay. Uy, ang ganda ng sinulat ni Rubilen. Uy, ang ganda ng, sige, libro tayo, game. I mean, and that's an athlete stance, you know? Pag may pinasahan ka bigla kahit wala sa plano, masushoot mo siya somehow. I think it was a privilege to witness that up close, you know? So, thank you for inviting us and giving us this chance to say the story. Salamat.
Coach Sandy, Coach, ikaw ba dati ka nang nagsusulat or may experience ka ba nang nagsulat during your college days? Or
nagsusulat ng mga homework, gano'n lang. Pero nothing of this kind. But so actually I had some doubt siguro. Kaya ko ba? Pero inassure naman kami ni Gang, ni Sir Rico Navarro, ni Coach Nolly Ayo na nasa sa inyo kasi magaling kayo magkwento eh. Parang gano'n eh. Sa salita, medyo nabanggit na ni Risa, medyo chismoso ako pag madaldal din ako, di ba? Yan, kaya ko makipagkwentuhan ng 15 minutes or more, di ba? Parang gano'n, kung komportable ako sa'yo. But, so I think yun yung key. And I think to their credit, na-tap nila yun sa amin. And I think it's also the group, we got comfortable with one another na ang feeling ko noon, na nag-share ako sa grupo. Pero actually, dahil nabasa nyo, parang, uy, kagrupo na kayo. Parang ganun eh. Kasi yun din yung feeling, parang weird eh. Parang, like some of the people na si Coach Jong wrote about what happened dun sa brawl involvement niya. That's something that, kung ako yun, magdadalawang isip ko, isusulat ko yun eh.
Share.
At mababasa ng lahat, di ba? Delay Fernandez, De La Cruz wrote about her na cancer survivor siya.
Yeah.
I got a glimpse of their lives, their feelings eh.
Yeah.
So parang ako, kaya sinasabi ko sa simula, parang ako feeling ko fan ako eh. Parang gano'n, hindi ako contributor, parang I was parang lucky. Kaya pag binabasa ko to, ang sarap kasi na parang feeling mo rin na kasama ka, parang gano'n eh. Parang ikaw yung nakipagkwentuhan yung kaibigan mo. Uy, alam mo, meron akong na-involve ako sa may problema ako. Parang gano'n eh. 'Di ba? So parang tapos nakakwento rin ng mga tao yung pinagdaanan nila, tapos yung mga reflection nila. Kaya parang, nakakatuwa. So parang naging madali in that sense, pero hindi madali. But I have people around me to thank for that. Lalo na si Sir Rico Navarro, grabe yung I had doubts kasi nagsulat ako ng draft. Sabi ko, parang midway through, parang tas nahiya na lang ako kasi may deadline, so tinapos ko. After my one-on-one meeting with Sir Rico Navarro, ang galing niya. Kasi after that, feeling ko, pwede talaga ako magsulat ah. Parang ganun yung nabigay niyang confidence sa akin. So that's something that I really owe to him. That's why this book will forever be attached to him in my eyes. Kasi talagang grabe yung, parang feeling ko, nasulat ko yun, uy, magaling pala ako, marunong pala ako, kahit hindi magaling. Pero parang sa meeting ko with him, parang pinalabas niya magaling ako, kahit na tingin ko hindi eh.
Uy, alam mo, Sandy, hindi ko alam kung Sandy, hindi ko alam kung alam ng public, pero sasabihin ko na, para lang alam nyo, lahat ng nagsulat, iwa one-on-one ni Rico to edit. Tapos kung may oras ako, I joined them. So I only sat with like half of the writers. But si Rico Navarro, inisa-isa niya. Kakausapin niya lahat ng writers. Yung devotion na yun ng editor, walang ganon. Walang ganon sa real life, you know? Pero si Rico, ganon siya. And can you imagine how heartbroken we were? Like how
Yeah.
someone we saw 3 or 4 times a week just died. And sorry. And so I think it strengthened the resolve for the book because there was a few days where should we go on with the book because we lost our executive editor, you know, and I think it made everybody say then the more we should, you know, the more we should. So
Yeah,
it is really
definitely.
a gift from Rico for us that we happen to just immortalize. You know, over the pandemic, ang dami nating pictures na puro square. Kasi nasa Zoom lahat, parang family picture, lahat square, lahat Zoom. I think what we wanted was to take a picture of the conversations and it became a book. And so hopefully the next
Nice.
generation of athletes will really have a chance to encounter this book. In fact, the National Academy of Sports, I really want to thank them. They purchased an X number of books so that every student that enrolls in the coming school year will have a copy of Winning Still. Alam mo, lagi kasi tayo nagbabasa ng libro ni Pat Riley, ni Larry Bird, ni ganyan. Parang, I think it's time we read from sports legends who are also Filipino. So I think it's
Correct.
parang we broke a boundary here. So I think it's really good. Before we'd read about, you know, the dad of Tiger Woods or whoever from other countries. I don't see why we shouldn't hear from Jong Wei Chico or Sandy Arespacochaga or Coach Oliver Stack Savillano, right?
Yeah.
That I think it's wiser to listen to each other than to listen to outside the world for now.
Okay.
For now.
Abak, last question for our guests.
Well, I don't. First, I take my hat off to your efforts, and I'd like to say that this book, I think, comes at the most appropriate time
Yeah.
because number
Thank
one,
you.
we all know that this pandemic is far from over, and that you're here to provide people with something or someone that they can relate to, and maybe where they can find some inspiration or even some humor in this book. So, yan lang.
Yeah.
Sana you come with your second or third books. My question lang, Gang and Coach, will this book be published online too? So you can reach
You know,
as
thank you
many.
for asking that. There are no plans of making it into an ebook yet. Can I say why? May I say why? Um, because after the pandemic has given us a life that's so digital, it was too digital
Mhm.
that we wanted something for children or
To hold.
people to hold. Yeah, 3D.
Mhm.
So if ever it will be published online, what I do want as a clause as the publisher is that like in 50 years, I want it free copyright. Like just go ahead and publish it for the next
Mhm.
generation. But for now, while if we can still raise funds for the next book and the next Mindanao Peace Games project, then we really want to sell it for now. And then I think
Mhm.
100%, I guarantee it will be absolutely available copyright free in 50 years. I'll be dead by then, but it's fine. You know, I think it should be shared. Pero thanks for asking.
Mhm.
Um, I want to, if it's okay, I want to read a line edited a bit from Coach Sandy Arespacochaga's essay because I really
Mhm.
want him to squirm, but I really want him to know that he is quite the writer. May I read from Sandy's? It's really short. I'll
Oh,
edit it. Things can change and get better. Now more than ever, we need more people to spread hope by transforming from being passive bystanders to active facilitators for change. I believe you, person watching this show, Chasers, reading this book can be one of them. Sandy Arespacochaga says, dark times are still ahead, but there is hope. July 21,
Wow.
2020.
And definitely, we are winning still. Thank you so much, Gang Badoy Capati and Coach Sandy Arespacochaga. How I wish we have more time. You know, kulang. Talagang kulang
Thank you.
isang episode. But we hope this is not the last. We'd like to invite you perhaps and the other contributing writers
Yeah.
soon, you know,
You should hear that. You should hear Aida, Belay, Marisa Ginto, a sports psychologist. You should hear Hidilyn's experience, Rubilen. Because the book was something
yes.
else. And it's the closest I've ever seen magic to be. You know, I'm
Pero
not a
very
believer
quick
of
lang,
magic.
where can they get the book, Coach Sandy? Do you know where can we get more copies?
Naku,
Uh, sa akin, ito last copy. Hindi, but I think
ito rin. That's copy din ako. We finished naubos yung first run. We have a second run. So kaka-release lang rin National Academy of Science of Sports got a number. We have a Facebook page that it actually says
Yeah.
where it's available. And then if you're familiar with crazyaboutpaper.com, they also sell for us, you know. Sobrang ano to talagang labor of love siya. Wala kaming official anything, but I'm just really happy that it happened, you know. Many Filipinos, I think, will benefit from this 2 or 3 generations from now. Can you imagine
Very
reading?
quick also, Gang. You mentioned something about Mindanao Peace Games. Does
Yes,
profit from the book goes to fund?
yes. Actually, absolutely. The profits from the book, it's not much, but it goes to Mindanao Peace Games programs to continue, especially now that it's slowly starting, but mostly Zoom. And it also goes to Project Steady Asia, where actually, I am a psychotherapist. I provide mental health care for a few elite athletes. So, and
All
those who
right.
can't pay, actually, those who can't pay, pro bono yon, care of the book. So, you know, I really encourage you to buy. I hate selling. I wish I could just give this book away, but it really we need it right now, the support. Mental health care for athletes who are physically in the best shape of their lives, but possibly in a mental health shape that might need more support. So yeah, that's where the profits go.
Would
Yung
like to
Mindanao
thank
Peace
you.
Games pala,
Yeah.
sorry. Yung Mindanao Peace Games pala, para lang malinaw, is an all biologically female athletics league. Because there's very few athletic leagues, sports meets for girls in Mindanao. And so I think that's a primary purpose of Mindanao Peace Games. Are there boys sports too? Of course, you know, and we're very LGBT welcome. So yeah, so that's Mindanao
Yeah.
Peace Games.
Coach Sandy, pahabol, may mga gusto kang batiin, pasalamatan, again, of course, for the inspiration to be able to contribute in this
Wasn't that a
book.
great quote? Wasn't that a great quote, Sandy? I quoted you.
oo nga, hindi ko maalala, sinulat ko yan eh.
Hindi, in-edit ko siya. As in, inikot ko lang yung order ng sentences.
No, but of course, thank you kay Gang, kay Coach Nolly, and of course, the late Rico Navarro, and all the writers. Like I said, parang mas feeling ko, fan ako eh. Parang swerte ako na nakasama ako sa kanila. Ang dami kong natututunan sa kanila. And hopefully, you all could get a book kasi I'm sure you'll feel the same way. And thank you for inviting us, Risa, Sir
Mm-mm.
Jerry, and Sir Wayland.
Sobrang
Thank you very much. Thank you. And salamat sa pinag-uusapan nyo kanina, of course.
Ciao.
All right. Thank you so
Salamat,
much.
Chasedown. Salamat, Chasedown, and everybody involved in the
uulitin.
show.
Sa uulitin, wag pong
Always
magsawa.
welcome
Gang
kayo.
Badoy Capati and Coach Sandy Arespacochaga. Send my love to Coach Noli and of course, Sir Robbie De Vera. Champion natin yan. Thank you so
One
much.
of our writers din yan. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you,
Sans.
sir. Thank you,
And
Coach.
thank you.
Thank you, Gang. Bye.
Waylon, Risa, Jerry, Abak. Thank you. Coach Sans. Bye.
Thank you. Coach,
Bye,
thank
Coach.
you.
Ayan.
Bye, Sans.
Hey, Coach.
Super fun, at super enlightening, at inspiring ang Winning Still. Pero isa pang inspiring, and who happens to also have written a book, you know, many years back, Rising Higher. Kelly Williams of TNT Tropang Giga is joining us this time. We are going straight to him. He happens to have just won his 7th PBA championship. And of course, in 2008, won MVP. We have with us Mr. Rising Higher. Kelly, how are you?
Hi guys, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
We're so sorry to
Hi,
have
Kelly.
kept you waiting. We got carried away with the conversation with Dan and Coach Sandy.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
Actually, I was enjoying listening. It's right up my alley, so I actually want to hear more about it.
Kelly can write
Alright.
dun sa book ni Ma'am, no? Ni
Uh-huh.
Ma'am Gang Badoy, no? In the future.
That's right. Yeah,
I wish I have a copy of Kelly's book too, but I didn't bring it with me right now. But Kelly, thank you for joining us in the show. Our Chasers would like to catch up with you and ask, of course, questions. Unahin ko na si Abak. Abak, go ahead.
Hi, Kelly. First of all, congratulations.
thank you. So
Yes,
much.
the question is, right? You won multiple titles in the PBA. You know you know how it feels to be a champion, but what makes this TNT Championship different from the others?
Well, obviously, given the times, the pandemic and everything, that alone is enough to, make this special. And then navigating the season and the conference, despite all the things going on, all the protocols, makes it really difficult. And then for me personally, obviously having retired last year, going through my own ups and downs, and lessons learned through those months of kind of figuring out things. So all things considered, it's probably number one for me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. That's good to hear, Kelly. All right, Riza, back to you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks,
I had to bring it up. Prior to the conference, you said you were pretty much stepping away from the PBA. You know, you were almost going to pack your bags, sell your stuff, and leave, and perhaps be with your children or what. So, what changed your mind?
I was about 80% done.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I could still play. I felt like I could still play. It was just one of those things where, things are out of your control and you kind of got to make adjustments along the way, right? That's kind of how life works. And so that was the case for me at the time. What changed it around for me was Chot coming back. Just to be completely honest, when I heard he came back and he reached out and he called me and all he had to ask was, "Are you ready to come back?" And I went from 80% gone to about 95% back. So, and from then on, it just pretty much spiraled into last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Jerry has more questions. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Jerry.
Kelly, how long you still see yourself playing in the PP?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel, despite the injury in the finals,
Yeah.
I feel physically I can go for a few more years. I'll just say that. But we'll see. I've learned my lesson in trying to look too far into the future. So I'm just kind of going along with it. That's pretty much how I took this conference, day by day, practice by practice, game by game, and it really helped me. And it's one of the tools that I kind of was forced into accepting and learning in that span of time that I had stepped away from the game. And that's that's why I did the YouTube channel. If you ever watched it, it's really predicated on those types of things. So many of the lessons that I've learned, not only in my career, but even in that block of time. So it's a day by day thing. If you ask me today, I feel like I can go for a few more years, but let's kind of focus on next conference. That's my mentality now, and see what happens.
How's your back injury, Kelly?
It's good. People are asking me. Obviously, a lot of people ask me about it. As you know, I was out for some time in the semifinals. So I missed the first 4 games. And the last thing you want to do, and this is this is what I've been telling people, the last thing you want to do is not be 100% and then get thrown in the fire and have to guard a Junmar Fajardo and a Moa Tatua, right? So I think having to jump into that series and really go 110% did some damage. But, you know, all things said and done, I can rest with some peace. And it was definitely worth it.
You seem to be going for a dunk when you hurt your back, Kelly.
Yeah.
Is it right?
It was a strain. So prior to jumping, I reached on a pass, and right on the reach, I felt a pull, and I say hard. I'll just say hard-headedly, for lack of a better term, right now. Tried to like force myself up, and it was, as soon as I jumped, I was like, "No, this isn't good." And so yeah,
But
that was it for me that game.
you can still dunk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I could respectfully play for myself if I couldn't dunk still. Like I said, with you go through the fire. You go through the fire against a San Miguel. You're going to come out with some scratches and some bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right in game 1 for me when that injury happened, and immediately when those types of things happen, you start backtracking on everything that led up to this moment, and definitely holding off those big boys with San Miguel and having took that time off and took some steps back contributed to that as well. So it's one of those things where you got to listen to your body. And so now going into the next conference, that's part of my focus in strengthening some places and getting to where I know I need to be in order to be effective for tough attacks.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Waylon, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Kelly?
What's
You're
up,
my main
Waylon?
man. Still
I
my
didn't even
main man.
recognize you with that. I didn't recognize you, man. Digging the new look.
Kelly, prior to this championship, the last time I guess TNT won was about 6 years ago. How does it feel to being on top again, together with your brothers, Ryan and of course Jason, winning again after 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years since the last one. I think we won that one with Ivan Johnson. It definitely feels good. That night after the game, during dinner, me and Jason were talking about it, and like, man, it's crazy the journeys we went through to get to this point. From the coach changes and the player changes and just everything. And so to win with these guys, especially with Ryan, we've been teammates for 15 years now, and to me, he's one of the most deserving guys. He's one of the hardest workers and has kept me on my toes since we've been teammates. So to see him win, to see the rest of the guys win, I think from March when we started this journey with this particular team under Coach Chuck, just watching how the guys work, how much the guys sacrifice for each other, and how much passion they put into the game and to play it the right way. By the time we got to the finals, I just wanted to see those guys win because they deserved it. They deserved to win. And so when the final buzzer went off, I couldn't be happier to see the guys celebrating and cutting down the nets and jumping around and make snow angels in the confetti. So yeah, definitely been a journey though the last 6 years. And but it never gets old. The feeling doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fresh. Again, like I said, for this one, this is one of the most memorable. So just grateful and happy.
you mentioned coaches going, coming, and also players. But with this group of guys, the young guys, of course, Mikey Williams, uh, Roger Pogoy. How do you see TNT moving forward? Of course, we don't want you to retire again. You mentioned you'll be playing for a couple more years. So, but how do you see TNT moving forward with this young group of guys? Mikey Williams, as mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not oblivious to the fact that I'll be gone sooner than later. But they're considering the guys that they have there, the core that they're building with these young guys, they're in good hands. And it's with Chot's system and the way he handles the team and builds players and builds men, it's going to be incredible to see the next couple of years how those guys grow and how the organization continues to be successful. I think that's really that's what Chot's there. That's why he puts together this team. That's how he puts together his teams. And just going back to these young guys, Roger and Mikey, they're incredible talents. But for me, just their mentality for the game, their selflessness to buy into the system, to not force things for their own agenda. I think that's what's made, that's allowed us to be as successful as conference. And, one of the things I try to talk to them about is more the off the court stuff, the mentality, your approach, your mindset to the game, to teamwork, the teammanship, to selflessness. That's what's going to extend their career. That's what's going to make them successful, and that's what's going to help the team be successful. So those guys got it. Obviously you see Mikey Williams out there, and he's scoring 30, 40. After the game, he's talking to me about how he should have passed it to me on a roll, or how he was trying to find somebody on a kick out. And it's like, wow, man, this guy, rightfully so, could take 40 shots a game and try to force his own agenda, but he's still looking for ways to try to fit in the system and make sure everybody's involved. So that's the kind of stuff I look for in good teammates, and he's got it, and really all those guys do. And so what I've been saying, and the overused word for since just this whole year and this whole conference has been just grateful to be around these guys, grateful to see them grow even in this past few months. And I'm excited for the future of Talking Tex, especially even obviously when I step away for real. They're going to be in good hands, and it's going to be exciting to see how their careers continue to grow as well.
All right.
Thanks, Kelly. Congrats.
Thanks,
Speaking of future, in maybe 2 weeks, we don't know, or the next conference could be starting. Can you give us very briefly, Kelly, updates from the team, since we want to take advantage of your time here. Practices should be scheduled soon, at least small groups, imports.
Yeah, well, Reese, I'll be honest with you. I think right now the only update I can give you is 90% of the team has sand on their back right now, and just relaxing and not thinking about basketball. Someone messaged earlier, like, when's the next conference start? I'm like, one, I don't know, and two, I don't care. It's been about a week. It's only been a week since I had that trophy. Like, let me just hold on to it for a little bit longer, right? But no, we'll be starting up in about a couple of weeks here. Like you said, we're not sure when the conference will start, which also makes it a little difficult, I think, for all players and teams when you're trying to prepare when there's no solid end date, or beginning date rather. But that's part of the beauty. I think that's part of what makes something like a championship like this one, or like the last one, special, because you have to navigate, you have to adjust, you have to pivot, and be flexible, because you might miss, like in the beginning of the conference, right? There were games canceled and makeup games, and then you play 3 games in a row instead of 1, and so if you're able to navigate and be flexible and pivot like that, that's kind of that's part of the game now. So looking forward, this next conference, no idea, but all I can say is we'll be ready. Guys are getting the proper rest they need, and when the time comes, I know Coach Andre and the rest of the team is going to do everything they can to get us where we need to be.
Yeah, well, you should hit the beach, man. Or is it because
I'm out.
your
I'm out
your
tomorrow.
dog cannot? Oh, okay. Because you have a dog, so you can't leave. Your dog coming with you to the beach?
You know what?
Your dog is not moving.
No,
Behind
that's
you,
not
your
true.
my
dog
dog,
is moving.
my dog isn't here, and it's a sad story. That's probably for another episode. My dog isn't with me. My dog is with some friends. Had a whole issue with my admin in my building. I don't want to get into it. It's sad. I might get angry. I want to be happy. I'm still on a championship
But
high.
behind you,
But no.
behind you. Your dog is not moving behind you.
Yeah, this is my backup. That's Mario.
Still alive? Still alive?
So
Is he alive?
behave.
Yeah, alive and well. He looks after my place when I'm gone. Nah, my kids got me that told me that he's gonna protect me while because they're not around. So
Oh, your
yes,
kids are the
yes.
sweetest.
Yeah, my babies. You might
Are
be seeing
your
them in a
boys
few years.
are your boys still playing piano and singing to you?
They're doing they're in everything, Riza. The piano. They just started their basketball season in the States. Look out for my older one. He's turning 12 in a couple of weeks. He's turning 12 in a couple of weeks. He's already
How
about
tall?
5'9".
Mm-hmm.
He's 5'9". He's wearing a size 13. He's huge, and he plays like he has guard skills already. So I'm excited about his future if he continues to have passion for the game. Both of them have passion for the game, though. Both of my sons. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. They'll be better than me for sure.
Thanks. That's going to be hella something to look forward to. And thank you for sharing with us, Kelly, because it's always a wonderful opportunity to be talking to you. And congratulations, and enjoy your sunbathing tomorrow, your time in the beach.
Absolutely.
And we hope
Absolutely.
to see you soon. Maybe in the hard court. Who knows? Fans could be allowed again. Broadcasters could
That would
be
be
the
great.
venue again. So
Right. That'd be awesome.
yeah. Any other shout outs that you want to make before we let you go?
There's so many people, but I will say just thank you to all the fans who've supported not only this conference, but have stuck in and rode the journey with us in the past 6 years during the drought. Thanks to everyone who reached out when I was injured and when I was sick and all of that, and it really helped me to come back and want to perform for you guys. Like I said, the biggest thing for me, if I can leave anything during the show, is just being grateful every day for whatever happens, and considering the times, it's better to just be grateful for every moment we have, every breath we have, because we never know when what the next day may bring, or when we might have our last. So that's the reality of life now. And shameless plug, if you get a chance, check out my channel, Rise with Kel, on YouTube. There's a lot of cool things coming up for that, and I talk a lot about what Coach Sandy and Matt Glass was talking about earlier, about just mental health and what really helped me get to where I am, and what's helped me not only this conference, but in just my career and my life throughout the ups and downs. So there's no better time than now to give yourself a wellness check and see where you're at, and do whatever you can and find tools to increase your quality of life and mental, emotionally, psychologically, any way you can. We need all the tools we can, and so that's what I'm sharing on that's what I share in social media. That's what I share on my channel. So check it out. That's kind of stuff you're into. And like I said, there's a lot of cool things coming up. And I'll just continue to do what I do. And hopefully I will see everyone next conference or the near future at the games physically. And thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you, Kelly. And we hope, again, to talk to you next time. Maraming salamat. We'll see you next time. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Kelly.
That's
Take care.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you guys. Take
Kelly
care.
Williams of the TNT Tropang Giga. We'll be back with more. Wag po kayong aalis.
Dito sa
Welcome back to the Chasedown. We just had some really nice guests this afternoon. Nice is an understatement. Gang Badoy, Sandy Arespacochaga, of course, Vincel, and just a few ticks ago, Kelly Williams. Pero napakarami pa nating balita and we want to be able to share them with you. So Jerry, simulan natin. Tell us about the trade that happened for Phoenix and Northport.
Oo, mainit-init pa yan, Riza. Kahapon lang inaprubahan ng PBA Trade Committee yung trade between Phoenix and Northport involving, siyempre, Sean Anthony and Vic Manuel. Si Vic Manuel, hindi pa umiinit ang puwet sa Phoenix, na-trade na naman. Napunta siya ngayon sa Northport. Kasama niya si Michael Kalisaan. Parang 3 in 2 na trade dahil ang Phoenix naman nakuha nila si Sean Anthony kasama si Sean Manganti. Oo nga, dalawang Sean yun. At saka yung second round pick ng Northport sa 2021. So, aprobado na yan. Next, itong darating na conference, expect natin na naka-jersey na ng Northport si Vic Manuel at si Sean Anthony naman naka-jersey na ng Phoenix Fuel Masters. Hindi ko lang, si Vic Manuel ay nagkausap kami briefly kahapon and sabi niya okay naman yung injury niya, no? Na injury na siya kasi nung last bubble ano siya sa groin. But sabi niya he's getting better and nakakalaro na siya sa this coming Governors Cup, hindi pala reinforced conference, Governors Cup yung darating na conference. I just don't know kay Sean Anthony dahil may bone spurs siya nung naglalaro siya sa Northport, and nabanggit niya na papatanggal niya ito during this off-season break. Hindi ko lang alam kung itutuloy niya pa ba yan or hahayaan niya munang maglaro na siya sa Northport. Sa Phoenix pala. Kasi hindi ko alam kung nung sinabi ang papa-opera niya or papatanggal niya yung bone spurs, hindi pa nangyayari nga yung trade. So biglang nagkaroon ng trade. I don't know if he will still go on with that plan. Riz?
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Another big
Riz?
news yes, go ahead, Waylon.
Dagdag ko lang kay Jerry yung sa PBA. Di ba, Jerry, tama si Vic Manuel? Balik siya sa dating franchise niya.
Yeah, that drafted him.
Si Vic, Global Port ang dyan nag-draft And kung hindi ako nagkakamali, si Sean Anthony, Phoenix, franchise yata yun ng Powerade.
Ng Barako.
Barako Bull na, di ba, parang yung ganun di ba? So parang bumalik sila sa mga old franchises nila.
Oo nga, tama. Tama ka ron, Waylon. Tama.
All right. Now, Waylon na rin. Speaking of Waylon, Waylon, Abak, on this note, from PBA, let's go to another very hot news nitong mga nakaraang araw and got mixed reaction. Yuka Saso is becoming a Japanese citizen. Yes, Abak, can you tell us more about this?
Yes, pinili ni Yuka Saso na maging Japanese citizen. She elected. You elect citizenship, matapos ang mga ilang taon representing the country in major international competitions like the Asian Games where she won 2 gold medals, the Olympics, she saw action in Tokyo, the US Open, of course, the biggest win of her career, and she was also part of the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires. Sayang, but there comes a point in time that sa Japan kasi, when you are a dual citizen, by the time you're 22, you must choose between the two. And since her father is Japanese and her mother is Filipina, that makes her feel Japanese, she had to make a choice. And ayan, napili nga niya, masakit man sa atin, she elected to be a Japanese citizen by the time she's 22. That will come nearly 2 years from now pa na. So she can still represent the country in the Asian Games yata next year. So after that, medyo Japanese flag na makikita natin sa t-shirts ni Yuka Saso whenever she competes. Malungkot, but well, okay lang because she gave her best while playing for the Philippines, and ang sinabi naman niya, I remain a Filipina at heart, and just for that alone, we should be thankful to Yuka. Meron na ibang tao medyo binibigyan pa ng kulay. Let's respect Yuka Saso's decision on this matter. Thank you.
I bet it's not an easy decision to make, so let's not make it, harder for Yuka Saso, who's brought nothing but glory and pride to our country. Okay, another glory and pride galing syempre sa napaka babae na to, napaka over accomplished, is Hidilyn Diaz. But he just got engaged. Napanood niyo ba yung video kung saan nag-propose na sa kanya ang kanyang boyfriend? Pero back to business. Aba, Waylon, nag-ensayo na ulit daw.
Yes, oo. Recently lang, nag-post kasi si Hidilyn Diaz ng kanyang photo kung saan siya nag-training before the Olympics sa Malaysia. So, balik ensayo siya dahil pinaghahandaan niya yung World Championships sa nagaganapin sa Tashkent, Uzbekistan. December to, I think, second week ng December. Tapos kasi itong kung nag-gold na siya sa Olympics dito sa World Championships sa weightlifting, ang mataas pa lang na nakamit ni Hidilyn was bronze medalist siya nung 2016 kundi ako 2017 sa Pattaya, Thailand. So ngayon dahil nga ang taas ng level nung ni Hidilyn ngayon yung kumbaga yung doon pa siya sa peak form niya eh. So balik ensayo uli, hoping na maka-gold naman siya dito sa darating na World Championship. So good luck Hidilyn. Patuloy lang yung training. Ingat diyan sa Thailand, sa Malaysia. Riza?
Nice. Work never stops talaga. Kaya nagiging Olympic gold medalist dahil sa mga character na katulad na pinapakita ni Hidilyn Diaz. Okay, very quick, Waylon. It was a proud moment for us Filipinos when Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Green were both on the hard court. And it was, I think the first time that two Filipino descent na NBA players shared, diba? That kind of moment. Tell us more about the NBA news bago tayo magpaalam.
Yes, oo. Tama ka dyan, Risa. Proud moment yan kasi itong dalawang to, alam naman ng lahat na may dugong Pinoy. Filipino-Americans na to, si Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz and si Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets, rookie.
Mhm.
At ito nga, recently lang, nagharap yung Rockets at ang Jazz. Si Jalen Green, he scored 13 points, 3 rebounds, and had 3 assists. Si Jordan Clarkson naman, scored 16 points, 6 rebounds, at 3 assists. I think meron mga pinost yung parehong players sa kanilang mga social media accounts sa Instagram, nakita ko eh. Prior to their game, nagkaroon ng parang hindi siya press conference kasi I think Filipino fans yung yung kausap nila eh before the game. So kumbaga nagkaroon ng konting kwentuhan siguro with the Filipino community kasi yung araw yata na yun yung Filipino heritage honoring yung mga kababayan natin na nandoon sa Amerika. And it was a good gesture na rin from the NBA na kumbaga, di ba, binibigyan nila ng halaga yung kumbaga yung part ng game na yun na may dalawa tayong kababayan na naglalaro sa liga nila. Yun lang, Riz. Ay, isa pa, pahabol. Si Chris Paul of the Phoenix Suns, number 3 na sa all-time assist. Siguro yan yung isang naging basehan for him to be included sa one of the 75 greatest players ng NBA. So, yun, Riz, sa ating NBA news.
Nice. At syempre, ang NBA mapapanood sa iba't ibang platforms ng Signal. Abak, let's talk about the SEA Games. They already announced a date.
Yes, Riza, meron na pong PETSA ang Vietnam SEA Games next year. Gaganapin ito sa...
Sige. Ayaw kayong date eh. Sige.
Gaganapin ito sa May 12 to 23 sa Hanoi, Vietnam. Ayan. Sinabi ni POC President Pambol Tolentino na karamihan ng Philippine members dito sa team na to ay pupunta sa Vietnam ilang araw or maybe a couple of weeks before the games para magkaroon sila ng time to acclimatize. Hindi naman ganun masyadong malaking problema because summer in Vietnam is like summer in the Philippines. So, we're planning to send originally parang around 600 yata ang gusto nating ipadala dyan no? Because we are the defending champions. So, the POC wants nothing but the best. Maipagtanggol man lang natin yung overall title. One issue dyan pala is if and when the athletes leave early, they will not be able to vote during the May 9 national election.
No?
If they leave for Vietnam 2 weeks before, hindi sila makakaboto on May 9. I'm not sure if the POC or the government will allow the athletes early voting, like how they allow other...
absentee voting, yeah.
Oh yeah, absentee voting or early voting because pwede silang bumoto ng maaga. I think media men are allowed early voting, di ba?
Tama.
Buti ka ng maaga, Jerry.
Media, nakakabot sila.
Sana si Waylon mapadala.
So, yan ang... Ha?
Sana si Waylon
Sige.
mapadala.
Kaya, tayong tatlo.
Jerry, ingat ka
Okay,
lang.
tayo. Okay. Next.
All right.
Story.
Now,
Mami
another source of pride. Jimmy Alapag is set to debut as an assistant coach for the G League. So ito na nga G season, and it features one of our very own Jimmy Alapag to be, of course, an assistant to head coach Bobby Jackson. We want to wish, of course, his team, Jimmy Alapag, and of course, yung G League team ng Sacramento Kings para sa kanilang paparating na season. And speaking of Jimmy Alapag, dahil napag-usapan na rin natin siya, he is going to be he's going to be the debut, the premier guest also of the newest show natin dito sa Signal. It's called Hot Seat. So it premieres on Monday. That's on November 8th. 9 p.m. siya mapapanood sa PBA Rush. Also mapapanood din sa High Definition Channel 260 and Standard Definition Channel 90. And like what I said, ito ay i-host ni none other than Miko Halili, and his first guest would be none other than Jimmy Alapag. That is going to be something really, really, really good. Something to watch out for. At meron pa tayong isa, di ba, Waylon?
Nanalo
Yes,
yata
Riz.
si
Eto
Jimmy
lang.
Alapag, di ba? Kanina. Nanalo yata yung team ni Jimmy Alapag
Nanalo
kanina
yan.
sa
Oh,
Gina.
nice.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Waylon.
Anyway, Riza, ito lang, mga Chasers. Yung Philippine Football League Copa, Paulino Alcantara, mag-start na rin. Tomorrow yan. November 7 until 19. Mapapanood ito sa One Sports and sa One Sports Plus Live, 4 p.m. po. So kung mga may hilig dyan na fans ng football, ito na inaabangan nyo. Watch tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
At syempre, ito pa, NBA Hype also is something to look out for every Saturday, 7 p.m. via the NBA TV Philippines Channel 262. Aba, mamaya na yan. Alam nyo, napaka-exciting nito kasi yung mga host nito, bukod sa kaibigan natin si Carl Stew, napakagandang si Bea Escudero, they also have Tyler Till, and of course, Camille Clarin. Aba, marami rin silang mga magagandang mga pagkukwentuhan dyan. So again, don't forget NBA Hype later tonight at 7 p.m. and of course, Hot Seat that premieres on Monday. And syempre, huwag kalimutan ang The Chasedown pag Sabado. We'd like to thank you for joining us today. What an episode we had. I truly enjoyed this afternoon. I'd like to thank our hardworking men and women behind the show who's working so hard. Salamat sa inyong effort. And of course, thank you sa ating mga viewers. Very quick, may mga babatiin, may mga gusto pasalamatan, Jerry?
Ako, Riz, thank you pala kay Sir Robbie De Vera. Magpapadala raw siya sa atin ng kopya nung book ni Ma'am Gang Badoy. Papadala niya raw tayo.
Wow.
Thank you, Sir Robbie.
Sir Robbie. Oh, idol ko yan.
Abak, you have more shoutouts?
Yes, happy birthday lang. 3 friends lang.
Yan.
Melvin Visceral, Tonico Paredes, and Mr. Robert Evangelista
Robert.
of the Musical. Yan lang. Tsaka si GM Eugene Torre, happy birthday.
Oo nga pala.
Uy.
Happy birthday.
One of my dear friends also from the industry who shaped me to who I am, Ma'am Diana Saison. Happy birthday also, Ma'am Diana.
Hi, Diana.
Yes, birthday
Miss
niya.
D, happy birthday.
Miss D. Waylon, go ahead.
Kaibigan natin yan.
Happy birthday lang sa dad ko sa US, Richard Kiocho. Happy birthday, Dad. And sa husband ng pinsan ko sa Chicago, PJ. Happy birthday. And also, naku, huwag natin kalimutan, birthday din. Bukas, Zaldi Perez. Happy birthday.
Hindi, bukas pa si Zaldi.
February yun.
Oo, February yun.
Ganun ba?
February 29 yan.
Oo.
Kasi birthday niya bukas.
Alright. Ng waiter ng Mandarin.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you lalo na sa mga tumutok sa atin for the past 2 hours. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. At huwag kakalimutan, magkita-kita po ulit tayo sa susunod na episode ng The Chasedown.
Chase down!
See you guys! Ingat! Stay
See you
safe!
Hello.